Adaku, the Enchantress of Darkness. Once upon a time in Akala village. In the heart of the mystical forest of Igboland, nestled between ancient trees and winding rivers, lay the tranquil village of Akala. Unbeknownst to its inhabitants, a dark force lurked in the shadows, seeking to disrupt the peace. Deep within the underworld, the dark goddess, Oya, conjured a plan to claim Akala's souls. She summoned Adaku, a ravishing beauty with an evil heart, forged from the darkest depths of the underworld. Adaku, my child, Oya whispered, your mission is to seduce the young men of Akala, draining their life force and bringing darkness to their doorstep. Adaku's piercing eyes gleamed with malevolence as she accepted the challenge. One fateful evening, Adaku emerged from the forest, her captivating beauty mesmerizing the villagers. Her raven hair cascaded down her back like the night sky, and her full lips curved into a sly smile. The young men of Akala, entranced by Adaku's charm, flocked to her side. She wove a web of deceit, whispering sweet nothings, and casting spells of enchantment. Adaku's victims fell deeply in love, surrendering their hearts and souls. But as the days passed, they began to wither away, their vitality drained by Adaku's dark magic. Obina, the village elder's son, was the first to fall prey. He became withdrawn, his eyes sunken, and his once strong spirit shattered. Next was Ikena, the skilled hunter, who abandoned his duties, succumbing to Adaku's allure. One by one, the young men of Akala fell under Adaku's spell, leaving their families and loved ones bewildered. A wise old woman, Neoma, sensed the darkness spreading throughout the village. She recognized Adaku's evil nature and knew the villagers were in grave danger. Neoma gathered the village elders, revealing Adaku's true identity and her sinister intentions. The villagers, armed with knowledge and determination, confronted Adaku. But she unleashed her full fury, summoning forces to aid her. In the midst of chaos, Obina's sister, Amaka, discovered an ancient text revealing Adaku's weakness, the light of the full moon. Under the radiant full moon, the villagers, led by Amaka, faced Adaku. The evil princess unleashed her darkest magic, but the moon's light repelled her powers. As the villagers chanted ancient incantations, Adaku's strength waned. The young men, freed from her spell, regained their vitality. With her powers broken, Adaku was cast out of Akala, forced to return to the underworld. Oya, enraged by Adaku's failure, imprisoned her in the darkest depths. Akala village celebrated their victory, but the memory of Adaku's evil deeds served as a cautionary tale. The villagers vowed to remain vigilant, protecting their hearts and souls from the forces of darkness. And so, the story of Adaku, the Enchantress of Darkness, became a legend, whispered around campfires, reminding future generations of the dangers of deceit and the power of unity. The only female child. Once upon a time, in a small village, lived the Okoro family, Mr. and Mrs. Okoro and their 5 children, 4 boys Emeka, Ikena, Chidi, and Obina and 1 girl, Sandra. They were a happy family, and Mr. Okoro's hard work ensured they lacked nothing. Tragedy struck when Mr. Okoro was diagnosed with a rare illness. Despite medical efforts, he passed away, leaving the family in shock and grief. Mrs. Okoro struggled to provide for her children, but poverty slowly crept in. Sandra, now 17, felt the weight of responsibility. She began to withdraw from school to help her mother with household chores and care for her brothers. Feeling isolated, she longed for friendship and adventure. One day, while running errands, Sandra met Rachel, a charming and stylish woman who claimed to be a model. Rachel befriended Sandra, promising to introduce her to exciting opportunities. Sandra, blinded by Rachel's glamour, trusted her. Rachel convinced Sandra to accompany her to the city for a modeling audition. Sandra, eager to escape her difficult life, agreed. Unbeknownst to her, Rachel was a human trafficker. In the city, Sandra was forced into prostitution. Rachel's accomplices coerced her into servicing multiple men daily. Sandra's innocence was stolen, and her hope began to fade. Months passed, and Sandra's despair deepened. One night, she met Mark, an American businessman. He was different from the others, kind, gentle, and genuinely concerned for her well-being. Mark discovered Sandra's situation and vowed to help. He worked with local authorities to apprehend Rachel and her accomplices. Sandra, finally free, was taken to a safe house. Mark visited Sandra regularly, earning her trust. He learned about her family and promised to reunite her with them. With Mark's support, Sandra began to heal. Once Sandra was emotionally ready, Mark took her back to her village. The reunion with her mother and brothers was overwhelming. Tears of joy flowed as they hug. Never wanting to let go, Mark was warmly welcomed into the Okoro family. He proposed to Sandra, and she accepted. They married in a beautiful ceremony, surrounded by loved ones. Mark sponsored the Okoro family's relocation to the United States. He provided Emeka, Ikenna, Chidi, and Obina with jobs at his company. The brothers thrived in their new lives. Sandra and Mark built a happy life together. They had 2 children, and Sandra pursued her education. Mrs. Okoro was proud of her children's accomplishments. The Okoro family's story served as a testament to resilience, hope, and the power of kindness. They lived happily ever after, grateful for Mark's love and generosity. The Chosen Child. In the small village of Azura, nestled in the rolling hills of ancient Scotland, a legend had long been whispered of a child born with a special gift. The villagers believed that this child, known as the Chosen One, would bring prosperity and protection to their community. For generations, the villagers waited with bated breath for the arrival of this blessed child. They watched as families grew and children were born, but none possessed the sign. The sign, a small, delicate mark shaped like a crescent moon on the palm of the left hand, was said to distinguish the Chosen One from all others. Years passed, and the legend began to fade into myth. Many doubted its validity, believing it to be nothing more than a tale told to entertain children around campfires. However, on a stormy night in late autumn, a young woman named Alara gave birth to a beautiful baby girl named Arya. As the village midwife, Morven, helped Alara deliver, she noticed something peculiar. The crescent moon sign shone brightly on Arya's tiny palm. Morven's eyes widened with wonder. Could this be the chosen child? She kept her discovery hidden, knowing the villagers' reactions would range from awe to fear. As Arya grew, she demonstrated remarkable abilities. She possessed unnatural strength, agility, and intelligence. Her connection to nature was uncanny, plants bloomed in her presence, and animals sought her companionship. Alara, a wise and kind woman, recognized her daughter's uniqueness. She began teaching Arya the ancient ways of their people, healing, divination, and elemental control. Arya proved a quick learner, mastering each skill with ease. When Arya turned 10, Morven revealed the legend to her. Arya learned she was the chosen one, destined to protect Azura and its people. The weight of responsibility settled upon her shoulders, but she felt an inner stirring, a sense of purpose. As Arya's abilities grew stronger, she began using them to help the villagers. She healed the sick, brought fertility to barren lands, and calmed raging storms. News of her powers spread, attracting visitors from neighboring villages. One fateful evening, a dark stranger arrived in Azura. His name was Malachi, a sorcerer from a distant land. He sought to exploit Arya's gifts for his own gain, to dominate the surrounding regions. Malachi disguised himself as a benevolent mentor, offering to guide Arya in mastering her powers. Alara, sensing danger, warned Arya to beware. But Arya, eager to learn and prove herself, was swayed by Malachi's promises. Under Malachi's tutelage, Arya's abilities surged. However, she began to realize his true intentions. Malachi's teachings were laced with darkness, tempting her to wield her powers for destruction. Arya confronted Malachi, refusing to continue down the path he had set her on. Enraged, Malachi revealed his true form, a towering figure with eyes blazing like embers. The villagers, awakened by Arya's cries, rallied to her defense. Together, they fought against Malachi's malevolent forces. Arya, channeling the ancient magic within her, summoned the elements to aid her people. The battle raged on, with Arya facing Malachi alone. Their powers clashed, shaking the earth and splitting the skies. In a final, desperate bid to defeat the sorcerer, Arya called upon the deepest reserves of her strength. A blinding light enveloped the battlefield as Arya's crescent moon sign glowed with an intensity that rivaled the stars. Malachi stumbled back, his dark magic recoiling against him. Victorious, Arya stood tall, her heart heavy with the weight of her newfound responsibility. The villagers cheered, hailing her as their protector, the chosen child. From that day forward, Arya dedicated her life to defending Azura and its people. Her legend grew, inspiring generations. As the years passed, Arya's name became synonymous with bravery, wisdom, and hope. And when the winds whispered through the hills, they carried the whispers of a grateful people, thanking the chosen child for her unwavering protection.